Hello, history enthusiasts. Good evening. And we're meeting after a very, very long time. So we are bringing something new this time. We have not touched the history of coins so far. And that is what we are going to start today. There's something quite powerful about beginnings that are not bound by calendars. So this is a lecture series we are hoping to have. Mudra, reading history in metal and mark. It's not a definite series of definite number of lectures with definite dates. We are going to add lectures to the series as we go, and there is no rigid schedule. But we hope to have a set of conversations that will return to us again and again, like coins resurfacing from the soil, each time with a new story, each time with a new spirit. And with that, we welcome you to this series. At first glance, a coin is a very small, almost unassuming object that we see. We think, what must it say about history? But history rarely announces itself loudly. It prefers to hide in weight and texture and symbols, worn down by centuries of touch. A coin is not merely currency, it is authority, it is economic manifestation. Struck into metal, it is economy made visible, it is ideology compressed into form, it has a lot of different dimensions. It travels across hands, across regions, across time, and in doing so, it gathers meaningful implications far beyond its face value. So, this lecture series, Mudra, is conceived not as a linear journey but as a constellation. Each lecture will be a point of light illuminating different facets of numismatics. Through this, we hope to read history not just in texts but in objects, objects that have witnessed circulation, that have witnessed conflict, that have witnessed ups and downs of a society, of an economy, and have witnessed transformation. So before we begin, it is my privilege to warmly welcome our distinguished resource person, Dr. Gautam Jantakal. I also extend my heartfelt welcome to Mr. Nandan Shastri, honorary president of the History Enthusiasts, and my friend and co-host Ms. Nidhi Katti in her absence. I also welcome all the respected members of the Advisory and Executive Council of the History Enthusiasts. And the most important part of any lecture or any academic endeavor that we have, our viewers, the participants who are joining us this evening. They are not just audience members, you are fellow travelers in our journey. It is now my pleasure to introduce our resource person for today's lecture, Dr. Gautam Jantakal. Based in Bengaluru, Dr. Jantakal brings with him a rare and interdisciplinary academic journey, beginning with a degree in engineering from BMS College of Engineering and moving into the humanities with a master's degree in numismatics and archaeology from the University of Mumbai. He further pursued a postgraduate diploma in paleography and manuscriptology from IGNCA, Bengaluru, and completed his PhD in history and archaeology from Kuvempu University, Shivamogga. His work lies at the intersection of numismatics and ancient Indian scripts, two fields that, when combined, allow us to not just see coins but to read them, interpret them, and situate them within the broader historical processes. So he has been actively conducting lectures and workshops across institutions, engaging students and scholars in archaeology, epigraphy, paleography, numismatics, and manuscriptology. That is a wide range of subjects. He also works as a numismatic consultant, bridging academic research with practical expertise. Dr. Jantakal is the author of an important work, History and Coinage of the Rashtrakutas, and has contributed research articles to both national and international journals. We all know that Rashtrakuta coinage has always been a matter of discussion. So a very important work. His association with esteemed bodies such as the Numismatic Society of India, South Indian Numismatic Society, Karnataka Numismatic Society, and the Oriental Numismatic Society reflect his active engagement with the scholarly community. Today, he will be speaking on numismatic methods aiding historical research. And this topic will not just remind us that coins are not merely objects to be collected, but the sources, they are sources of history. They need to be questioned, they have to be refined, interpreted, and they need care and curiosity if they have to speak to us. So with this, I invite you all to settle into this conversation and listen closely and perhaps see coins a little differently. So, with that, sir, the stage is yours. I now invite you to present your lecture.
Yeah, thank you, Manali, for that crisp introduction. Of not only myself but also numismatics. So you brought out all that probably I would have put into my introduction. So I can as well probably now start off with my PPT. So I'll be taking the help of my PPT to take the participants through this topic. Yeah. So the reason why I chose this particular topic is that, yeah, people view coins in the sense of what they observe from the coins. So observation is one of the very the simplistic and logical thing to do when you have a coin in your hand. So you tend to observe the coin, and you tend to see what exactly is the motif on the coin, the design on the coin, as well as if it is a inscribed coin, what is written on the coin, and you tend to decode the coin. So this is the initial step that anybody will do when they are looking at deciphering or identifying a coin. But other than that, there are some proven methods in numismatics, just like in other disciplines. In numismatics, also, archaeology has its own methods, epigraphy has its own methods. Numismatics also has a set of tools or methods that actually aid in going a little bit more deeper into deciphering a coin and extracting historical information from it. So this is what I wanted to do as part of this particular talk. So I will start off with my slides. Yeah. So basically, firstly, why study coins? This is something that probably all of us would have realized, but just to cover it very quickly. So we study coins to understand our past history. Um, it might be political history, religious, or social history. Additionally, we also study coins to understand the art or iconography of that particular period and geography, the symbologies that were used, the paleography and linguistic aspects that were in vogue at that period of time. Then, what metallurgy? So, what sort of metals were extracted? The ores were extracted from the earth. What metals were available locally? What metals were probably even imported into that geography from other places? So that insight we'll get when we do a metallurgical study of the coins. Then comes metrology. Metrology is nothing but the weight standard of coins. So coins in the past had their value, their purchasing power, because of the precious metal content in them. And these precious metal contents were in specific weights and purities. So that insight will be available if we do were to weigh the coins of a particular dynasty, and in fact even go one step further and compare those weights with the weights of coins of a preceding or a succeeding dynasty. So we will know a relationship between the weight standards of the coins. Then economy. So we when we go into the ancient or medieval history, we don't have as many documents as we see in modern history. So to understand the economy, we have to rely on coins. We have to study the coins. We have to try to extrapolate the possible number of coins that were minted, and so on. So that gives us an insight into the economy of that particular period and geography. Then trade contacts. So coins are small pieces, so to speak. So they can easily travel from place to place, and this is the reason why we find foreign coins in the Indian subcontinent and vice versa. So this availability of non-indigenous coins in a particular geography can throw light on the trade contacts that were happening at that time. A very good example of this would be the Roman coins that are found in the Indian subcontinent. So there is a lot of things that get we can get to know by the study of coins, also known as numismatics. So if we were to evaluate coins for its historic content as a historical source, there are some positives as well as some negatives. So what are the positives? So a coin, if you get a coin, then it's any object for that matter, any historical object will be reliable only if we know its geography and period. So if we know if you get any historical object, and only if we know clearly its geography and its period of time, only then that information from that particular source will be meaningful enough. So, as such, when it comes to coins, it's its period and geography. That is the period as in time and geography as in space. So they are more easy to establish as compared to some of the other historical sources. So what is the space? That means where the coin has been found. That is what we call in numismatic terms as the provenance. So it is easy, somewhat it is possible for us to note the coin's provenance, that is from where it has come. So that will fix the geography of the coin. Next, the time period of the coin. How do we understand or fix the time period of the coin? So there are various ways. One is if the date of the coin itself is there on the coin, then we can decipher that and know to which period the coin belongs to. However, when it comes to the Indian context, in the ancient and early medieval period, there are very few coin series that show the date of the mint of the coin. So the Gupta coins are one good example. The Kshatrapa coins are also another example where we get the date directly, either it be in the Gupta era or in the Saka era. For other coins, how do we fix the time of the coin? So by reading the ruler, the name of the ruler, and trying to corroborate that period of that ruler using other sources, either it be literary or it be epigraphical sources. So sometimes it might even be that the name of the ruler is not available from other sources to corroborate. Then we might have to depend on the paleography of the legend. So the coin has something written based on the forms of the letters. We might be able to fix a particular time slot for the coin. That is another way we can determine the time period. Sometimes coins are found in an archaeological context. So archaeological methods are also available to know the relative or absolute time period of the coins. So given all these methods which are available, it is quite easy to establish the space-time coordinates of coins. So as such, they lend more reliable and useful information to the reconstruction of history. So that is a positive point. Then coins are resourceful because they tend to give not only a political history, they also tend to give the religious history, the social, economic, and even the technological history of that particular period and geography. Then another positive point when it comes to coins is that they're verifiable. So what do we mean by that? So coins are generally issued in larger quantities because its primary focus is to support the economy. So as such, they have to be minted in large quantities. So then what happens is, in other words, we can say that no coin is unique. So we normally find more instances of the same coin type and variety. So if on a particular coin, if we don't, if some part of the legend is missing, or some part of the motif is effaced, but we do normally find another coin that can help us to fill that gap, and hence to rebuild the entire image of the coin. So, in other words, it is verifiable, unlike other archaeological objects which tend to be unique. For example, any epigraph, if you consider, they are unique in nature. No two epigraphs will be similar. So it is sort of difficult to have a verification factor, but in coins it is not so. Then coins are authentic. So normally, what happens is coins are the prerogative of the issuing authority, that is basically the governing authority, the government. So the government who issues the coin, the issuing authority, they are very strict, and they normally tend to control counterfeiting of the coin. So in other words, the information available in the coin becomes legitimate because the counterfeits are very less. Then coins tend to be reliable because they are belonging to that particular period and geography in which a particular historian is interested in. So they provide us with undiluted information of that period and geography. Then coins are also durable for the fact that, by definition, coin is a piece of metal. So they're made up of metal, so they tend to be quite durable in nature. So, having said this, there are, however, some negatives also when it comes to coins and using it in a historical scenario. One is that they're generally small in size, for the very reason that they were actually not meant to be conveyors of historical information. They were meant for the local economy. So they tend to be in size, small in size. Hence, they can hold very limited content as against, let us say, a epigraph or even a manuscript. Then, the written content on the coin normally focuses on the polity. So it will tell the name of the ruler. It may tell the name of the dynasty the ruler belongs to. It might even hold an epithet. Sometimes it might hold the name of the mint also when it comes to the medieval period of India. But other than that, it does not have any information of the common man's history. Whereas if we were to compare with epigraphs, epigraphs give a representation of the common man's history as well. And other thing is, coins found in an archaeological context, they are prone to chemical reactions. So either it is found in the riverbed or in the soil, they might react chemically, especially the base metal coins like copper and its alloys. Gold and silver are less prone to chemical reactions because they are more, they are called as the noble metals. They are less prone. But as such, this also becomes a negative factor when we study coins or when we find coins. So with this background, let us move forward. Yeah, one of the common questions that I get asked, so I always try to put it into my talk, is that where are these ancient coins found from? So there are various sources that I have listed here in front of you. Firstly, and very naturally, are the archaeological excavations. So whenever there's a habitable site and an archaeological excavation or exploration happens, there are chances that along with various artifacts, coins of that period and geography are also found. The next is the treasure hoards. So we are also probably familiar with treasure hoards. We read in newspapers that a hoard of coins were found in a pot. So these are basically most probably the savings of a particular personality in the past, due to the absence of banks. So he might have saved it in a particular place, and not pass that information along to his family, maybe due to an untimely death. And such hoards of coins are today found due to man-made activities. Then family heirlooms, these are usually tend to be the precious metals like gold and silver. So because of their inherent value, they could have been stored within the family for generations. Next is riverbed scavenging. So this is a very interesting source of past coins. So here what happens is whenever we go to a pilgrim place, or when we are crossing a bridge or a river, there's a tradition of dropping a coin in the water. So these coins, this tradition rather, have been has been there from a distant past by our ancestors as well. So these coins, more typically the base metal coins like copper, so they get accumulated in the sand at these specific places, like a pilgrim place or the bridge, under the bridge. So today, because of the construction of dams, some of those earlier perennial rivers have now become what to say seasonal. So there will be some times of the year where the water is not there and the river bed is only made up of sand. So this is a picture of the Kaveri basin which I had taken. um, I'm sorry, I'll go back. Yeah, the Kaveri basin that I had taken. And there are some group of people, they are called Charkaris. So what they do is their job is to go to identify such places which has a potential to get coins. So, and then they surf through the sand and use a sand filter, and they try to gather the coins and maybe even other metallic objects like rings, then maybe some semi-precious stones and things like that. So all that they gather through the surfing of the sand. It's a very laborious process, and through this, the majority of coins in the Indian context come from such riverbed scavenging. But obviously, these are majorly base metal coins of copper and lead, rarely silver, and very, very rarely gold, small gold coins. So this forms the major source of coins in the Indian context. And then ancient mounds. So a mound is nothing but a habitat, ancient habitat. So in some of the ancient mounds, uh, what happens is if there's a torrential rain, then it disturbs the upper layers of the soil, and sometimes it might even reveal coins. And then comes temple hoards. There are a few temples in India. A good example would be the Balaji temple at Tirupati. So the temple has been functioning for hundreds of years, for centuries, and the hundis in these temples, they have accumulated coins over all these centuries. So, in fact, the Tirupati Balaji temple has coins from the early medieval period onwards, and then coins of Vijayanagar and so on, Nayakas and so on. So, these also tend to be sources of coins in the Indian context. Now, let us see about how to extract historical information from coins. Like I alluded to earlier, one of the simple methods and logical methods is by plain observation of the coin. So, for example, on the left of your screen, you can see a Gupta gold coin. It was called as a dinara, gold dinara. It weighs about 8 grams. On the obverse, you can see a standing figure of the king, offering something to a fire altar on his left. And on the reverse, you can see a seated deity, which is identified as Ardokshu. So, by simple observation, we can study the iconography on the coin, and we can also see something written here in Gupta Brahmi script, something written on the periphery of the coin, something written on the reverse of the coin also. So, here it is written as Samudra, which indicates that Samudragupta was the issuer. And on the reverse here, it is written as Parakrama, again in Brahmi script, which was the epithet of Samudragupta. So there's a lot of information that we can get just by plain, careful observation. There are also some methods or tools available to a numismatist to decipher more information from coin, either a single coin or a hoard or a group of coins. And that is what we are intending to see in this lecture. So one is called as provenance study. Then we have something called as numismatic continuity, dynastic symbols, overstrikes, metrology study, die study, and hoard study. So when we go through each of this, you will see that it is the method is underlying method is very logical. There's nothing, there's no deep concept behind it. It's a very logical method which has come about in numismatics. So let us go through step by step, one by one. We will go through each of this methods and understand what it is and how it is helpful in understanding the historical context of the coin. So firstly, we will see what is provenance study. So what is provenance? Provenance is nothing but the find spot of the coin. So if I were to find a coin today in my house here at Bengaluru, so I would say the provenance, I will note down the provenance of this coin as Bengaluru. So noting down the coin provenance is a important step while documenting coins. Of course, it is very challenging in the today's context like to note down coins provenances, because coin, as we know now, is a very small object. So it can change hands. Even today, it can change hands very quickly, and not all of them in that chain might have noted down where the coin was exactly found, or sometimes they have noted down, they know it, but they do not want to reveal it. Even that happens. So as such, though noting down of the provenance is a very simple thing theoretically, but practically there are some practical challenges to it. However, let us say an academician is going around in search of coins, studying coins, then what does he have to do is note down where the coins have been found. Try to note to the best of the information available to him. So now, what is the advantage of this particular numismatic method of noting down coin provenances? So for that, I'll give you an example. I'll take you to the Shatavahana era, roughly around 1st century BCE period. So we know from the Puranas that Chimuka Satavahana was the first named Satavahana ruler. So all the Puranas are unanimous in saying that Chimuka was the first Satavahana ruler. Now, if we were to like observe the provenance of Chimuka's coins, they are found in an area called Nevasa in Maharashtra. So Nevasa, Python. So these are two small adjacent towns. In that area, we find coins with the legend Chimuka Shatavahana. Rano Siri Chimuka Shatavahana. Now, Puranas also tell that the second ruler chronologically is Kanha, and then the third ruler is Siri Shatakarani. Okay. Now, if we were to note down the provenance of the coins of Siri Shatakarani, we find that his coins are found in a very large geography, not only in Maharashtra, but east towards Telangana and north towards Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so this is the geography around which we find, inside which we find coins of Siddhi Shatakarani, the third ruler. Now, with this provenance information, what is the historical data that we can extract? We can say that, yes, Chimuka, being the first Satavahana ruler, ruled in a limited geography of Nivasa Python belt, whereas by the time the third ruler came of the Shatavahanas, they had conquered a very vast region, not only of consisting of Maharashtra, but also of South Madhya Pradesh and West Telangana. Okay, this inference we can get just by understanding the provenance of the coins of these two rulers. We can further state that the Shatavahanas had grown very powerful, very in a very short period of time, and within a couple of generations they had expanded to a very large geography. Yeah. So that is how provenance can help us to understand the historical facts about the past. Now we'll come to the second method. We call it as numismatic continuity. So it is in fact a law. We call it in numismatics, we call it law of numismatic continuity. So if you have to term it as a law, that means it is like sort of universal and it is noticed many number of times. So what does this law says? This law says that even though there is a change in the ruling authority in a particular geography, the typology of the coin tends to continue to be the same. So that is what the law says. I'll just repeat. So even though there is a change in the ruling authority in a particular geography, the typology of the coin continues to be similar. In other words, let us say a new king has occupied a particular geography. The new king tends to issue coins of a similar typology which was already in circulation in that geography. He does not try to change it, or at least he does not try to change it immediately. So we can find a lot of instances of numismatic continuity all through Indian numismatic studies. And just to give you one example, so I have placed in front of you two gold coins. On the left is a gold coin issued by the Ghadavalas of the Kannauj region. They were Rajputs who were ruling before the advent of Muhammad bin Sam or Muhammad Ghori into the Indian subcontinent. And on the right side of the, you see this gold coin issued by Muhammad Ghori or Muhammad bin Sam. Here it is written in Nagari letters, Sri Mahamada Samaha. And here it is written on the left coin, reverse of the left coin, it is written Srimad Govinda Chandra Deva. That is the particular ruler's name of the Ghadavala dynasty. Now, if you were to look at these two coins, typologically they are very similar. On the obverse, we can see a seated deity, which we identify as goddess Lakshmi. And on the reverse, we see the name of the ruler written in 3 lines in the Nagari script. Now, what would have prompted Muhammad Ghori to issue a coin with a Lakshmi motif? And what would have prompted him to use Nagari script instead of the Arabic script? The answer lies in numismatic continuity. The Muhammad Ghori uh, would have decided to issue coins which were already in a typology which was already in circulation when he reached this area of Kannauj. Now, the next question would probably be, why would he do so? So the answer lies in the familiarity or popularity of the coins. So we have to place ourselves in a time period where there is absence of formal communication media. We don't have newspapers, we don't have radio, television, and nothing. So the popularity of the coin would be because the people are would have been used to using this particular typology of the coin. Not everybody probably would be able to actually read what is written on the coin, but owing to the familiarity in the typology, these coins would have established themselves as a popular coinage of that geography. So, whenever a new ruler comes, if we were to suddenly change, let us say, start circulating Arabic script, coins of the with the Arabic script, then the the people who actually use the coins would be taken aback. So, the circulation would meet resistance that would impact the commerce of that geography, and in turn it would impact the ruler himself in terms of the revenue. So it's this chain reaction, to avoid this chain reaction, the new ruler would have taken a conscious decision to continue the typology at least until a period of time that the people start understanding that there is a new ruler at Delhi in this case. So this is how numismatic continuity comes up. And now, how does it help? So, numismatic continuity is a phenomenon that has happened in the past. So, today, how does it help us when we are trying to rebuild the history? So, one way numismatic continuity helps us is to understand the political sequence of a particular geography. For example, here we are talking about Kannauj. So, to understand the political sequence of Kannauj, this numismatic continuity helps us. Why? Because coins of this particular typology, we can attribute it to that particular geography of Kannauj and its surroundings, basically central India. So if tomorrow if we find a coin which has Lakshmi on the obverse and on the reverse the Nagari script in 3 lines mentioning a ruler, even though we might not know who that ruler is, we can at least ascribe that coin to that particular geography. We could tell that yes, this must be another ruler who was issued from central India. So this helps to build a political sequence of a particular geography. Sometimes it also so happens that we might get coins. Even an academician doing his course of study might get a coin of which the provenance of the coin is lost. Like I told you slightly earlier, the provenance of the coin is always not noted down because it changes hands many times. So when a provenance is not known, however, looking at the typology of the coin, he can actually come to the conclusion that, oh, this coin typologically looks like Central India of the early medieval period, so I might assign it to Central India. So he might at least tentatively fix a provenance to such a coin which he has encountered without actual provenance data. Moving on, the next numismatic method is dynastic symbols. So, very much like today, we use emblems on the coins representing the particular country which issued the coin. Even in the past, unique identifications were there to identify the issuer or the political entity who minted the coin. So, these are known as dynastic symbols. So, how do dynastic symbols help us? So, if we are familiar with the dynastic symbols, if we are able to identify the dynastic symbols, like for example, here is a coin issued by ancient ruler that is Nahapana. So this is a coin that is issued, and it has got on the reverse a symbol of a thunderbolt, also known as Vajra, and an arrow. So the same dynastic symbol is also found on a coin issued by another ruler by name Bhumaka. Because they have the same dynastic symbol, it is possible for us to tell that these two rulers belong to the same dynasty. So using dynastic symbols, it is possible for us to link rulers, various rulers that belong to the same dynasty, because not always the name of the dynastic name is available on the coin. So in cases where the dynastic name is not available on the coin, just by linking the dynastic symbol, we can know that all these rulers belong to a particular dynasty. Not only that, if you look at the example on your right, you can see on the top a lead coin issued by a dynasty called as the Kumaras, who ruled in Western India, that is the Konkan coast. And their dynastic symbol was a strung bow. So there's a bow here and an arrow. So it's a strung bow. Now we encounter on below you see another coin, copper coin, and here we encounter on the reverse symbols of a thunderbolt, arrow, and a strung bow. Now the thunderbolt and arrow we know were the dynastic symbols of Nahapana dynasty, that is basically the Western Kshatrapa dynasty. And then the strung bow was a dynasty of the Kumaras, dynastic symbol of the Kumaras. So, what this coin alludes to was probably a, a understanding between these two dynasties. So, a confederation, in other words, a confederation appears to have existed between these two distinct dynasties in the first century Common Era period. Now, such information, historic information, is seldom available to us from other sources. However, coins here overwhelmingly tell us of this confederation between these two dynasties in the 2000 years ago. So, this is how dynastic symbols, the study of dynastic symbols, can help us in understanding historical context of the past. Moving on. Another numismatic method that I had earlier mentioned to you was overstrikes. Now, what is overstrike? As the name says, overstrike is nothing but one king has taken the coin issued by another king and put his own symbols on it. That is a overstrike. That means a conscious action of one king taking another king's coins and putting his own dynastic symbols on it. Now, why would an overstrike happen? It could be of mainly two reasons. One is a king might have defeated another king, and after defeating, in order to start circulation with his symbols, he might have just taken the coins of the earlier king and put his own symbols. So here the advantage is that the people are already familiar with the coins of the earlier king, because they were in normal circulation. Now, by ascribing or striking the new king's dynastic symbols, the the typology of that coin will more or less be the same. That means the coin will still be easily identified by the people who are using the coin. So, in a very small time frame, the new king would have started circulating coins which has his symbols, at the same time something that the people of that geography are familiar with and can accept them. So this is one reason why overstriking happens. So that means a new king has defeated an earlier king, and then he has taken the coins of the earlier king and has put his own symbols on them. Of course, there's another possibility that uh, that possibility is something functional, like in the sense when a king starts decides to start minting coins in a particular place, there might be uh, deficiency in the availability of metal. So what he might do is he might take an earlier dynasty's coin, and he would put his own symbols and recirculate them. So, although politically they are not connected, from a functional perspective, in order to issue coins because of the underlying deficiency of metal, the overstriking could have happened by a subsequent king on an earlier king's coins. Now, you might ask, how many overstrike coins do we find? Are they common or are they rare? So, overstriking coins, you might be surprised. We do find in good numbers. So, in other words, what I mean to say is they're not very rare as such. They are encountered now and then, and when they're encountered, they tend to be very good sources of historical information, because we are thinking of the past where there is no written political information. So, in that context, these overstruck coins give us very crisp and very reliable information about the chronology of the two kings who are involved in the minting of the same coin. That is the original king who has struck the coin, and another king who has put his own symbols on that particular coin. So, to explain to you a little bit more detailed manner. So I'm just hypothetically taking two coins, A and B. Let us assume that coin A has been struck by King A, coin B struck by King B. Now let us assume now that we have a coin here where we see that ruler A or King A has overstruck on the coin of King B. Now, who is King A and King B? Um, it is not very difficult to identify, because when the overstriking happens, then the symbols of the later king is more clear and would have overwritten on the symbols or the dynastic emblems of the earlier king. So it is not difficult to identify, although it needs a very like a proper observation. So it is usually possible to determine which symbol has been overstruck on which other symbol. Now let us assume that ruler A has overstruck on ruler B. So what does it tell about the chronology of King A and King B? So if we find such a coin where A has overstruck on B, it either means that the ruler A succeeded is in a time period after ruler B, or they might be contemporaries. Both are possible. Okay. So if we know let us say we know the chronology of ruler B, the period of ruler B. So then, and we don't know the chronology of ruler A, on the basis of this coin, we can say that King A probably ruled either in the same period as King B or afterwards. So we can get that relative chronology between A and B. Now we will take this a little bit further. Let us also assume that we also find coins where B has overstruck on A, the same A and B kings, but in this scenario, we find a coin where B has overstruck on A. Now, with these two coins available to us, we can conclude that ruler A and B lived contemporarily. They struck coins in the same period, because we find A has overstruck on B and B has overstruck on A. That is only possible if both these rulers A and B are contemporaries. And if such a scenario exists, and if we know the time period of one of the rulers, A or B, we can fix the time period of the other ruler as being contemporary to the first ruler. So this is all in a scenario where we don't have enough chronological information of the rulers, but here the coins are giving us that rare insight. Okay. To give you an example of this overstriking, this is a very popular coin, a silver coin, called as a dramma. So it weighs about 2 and odd grams. And this coin was found as a hoard of coins, 9,000 and odd, in a place called Jogalthambi. So this is popularly, this hoard of coins is called Jogalthambi hoard, where about 9,000 and odd coins were found, wherein the coin of Nahapana, the Western Kshatrapa ruler, was overstruck by another ruler, that is Gautami Putra Siri Shatakarni. Okay. Now, if we observe the coin, the obverse of the coin, we can see the bust of Nahapana, his head and nose, that is being overstruck by this particular three arch symbol. Okay, so this three arch symbol would have been the device of Gautami Putra Shatakarni over the bust of Nahapana. Similarly, on the reverse, we can see the thunderbolt, part of the thunderbolt, which is part of the dynastic symbol of Nahapana, and that has been overstruck by a four orb symbol, which is the dynastic symbol of the Shatavahana. So here we have a coin in which Gautami Putra Shatakarni has overstruck on the coins of Nahapana. Now, to interpret this overstriking, we know from corroborative information from epigraphs that Gautami Putra Shatakarni won a battle, an important battle against Nahapana, and probably as part of that, in that process, he would have taken the coins of Nahapana and placed his own symbols and let them back into circulation. Moving on, we'll go to the next numismatic method, which is metrology study. So metrology, as the name suggests, is indicating the weight standard of coins. So coins, because of their inherent or intrinsic value, they always followed specific weight standards. Like we know from Arthashastra that Karshapana was a silver coin which was in circulation in the Mauryan period. It had a specific weight of about 3.4 grams and had a silver purity of 75%. Then there are many such coins. We know the Dinara coin, the Dramma coin, Gadhyana. So all these are different weight standards used in different geographies of the Indian subcontinent. Now, what can we derive from this study of the weight standards of coins? To give you an example, here in the middle, you can see a coin, a gold Gadhyana of the Rashtrakuta period. Okay, it weighs about 4.2 grams. Now, if you look at the coin on the left, it is an Islamic dinar. It is an Islamic dinar coin, again weighing 4.2 grams. Okay, so now we know from history that the Rashtrakutas had a very strong trade relationship with the Arab Peninsula. They used to import a lot of horses from the Arab Peninsula, and that actually helped them to win wars. So this trade was very important from the Rashtrakuta perspective. Now, if you look at the weights, they are the same. Gold coin Both are gold coins and their weights are also same. Now, that means the Rashtrakuta coins, the Rashtrakutas adjusted their Gadhyana weight standard to be similar to the Islamic gold coin. Why? Because they had this trade relationship, so they found it probably convenient to have the same weight standard to help in the commerce aspects. So, what does this tell us today? Today, it tells us that it corroborates the strong trade relationship between the Arab Peninsula and the Rashtrakuta kingdom. The weight standard corroborates that important trade connection. Now, if you look at the subsequent dynasties after the Rashtrakuta, subsequent indigenous dynasties, they continued the weight very close to the Rashtrakuta Gadhyana, but with a slightly reduced weight. Like the Chalukya gold Gadhyana was about 3.75 grams. The Yadava was also similar. Then slightly later, the Vijayanagar gold Gadhyana was around 3.4 grams. So, if you look at this complete picture, what you can see is that the weight, the coin weights actually suggests that the coins are somehow interconnected between dynasties. Either they are from the same geography or they could have been a trade relationship if they are from two distinct geographies with the same weight standard. Like in the case of the Islamic or the Arab gold dinar and the Rashtrakuta gold Gathyana. So they either suggest that they were from the same geography or they were from different geographies but with the same weight standard because of a trade influence between those two distinct geographies. So this sort of information can be gathered from metrological studies. Moving on, one more numismatic method that we see, we come across, or it has been getting popular now, is die studies. Now, what is a die study? Or even going back one step, what is a die? So, if you look at the coin manufacturing technique, so it involves such a process wherein we have a coin blank that is kept in between two dies called as the upper and lower die. And when the force is applied on the upper and lower dies, mechanical force, then the impressions which are there on the upper and lower die will get transferred to the upper or the two faces of the coin, front and the back face of the coin. So that is how this is called as a die striking technique, and this is the method that is used even today, except that today we use machines, whereas in the past we use mechanical force of the hand. Now, the interesting thing is that in the past, these dies used to be manufactured. It used to be manufactured by hand. That means there used to be somebody called as a die engraver. So his job was to engrave on these metallic dies the impressions that used to finally need to appear on the face of the coin. Now, you can very well imagine that due to the mechanical force of the hammer, slowly, after minting X number of coins, these dies used to wear out. In other words, they used to crack, they used to break, or the impressions used to become flat. So that is the time when they have to be replaced. So when they have to be replaced, a new die, the die cutter will again re-engrave, will again engrave a new upper die and lower die. And obviously, because this is man-made, the second die that he engraves will not be exactly identical with the earlier die. There will be differences. Today, that is not the case because these dies are machine made. So there's 100% precision on the dies. However, in the past, these dies were man-made and hence there would be certain amount of difference. Now, that is the basis of this numismatic method. Now, if you look now, do we see the dice today? The dice that were used in the past, in the distant past? No, the dice usually do not survive. For security reasons, they must have been destroyed so that to prevent counterfeiting. Now, then how do we observe two different dice today? Or how do we understand that there were two dice or 10 dice or 20 dice used in the past? How do we observe it today? Just by observing the coins. So by seeing the coins, we can know whether it was made by the same die or a different die, because the coin face is the reflection of the die that was used. To give an example, I've taken two different Gupta gold coins of the same typology. However, we can easily notice that these two coins were made up of two different dies because they are not exactly the same. There are minute differences. For example, the here there's an attendant using a moon standard, the crescent standard. Now the crescent is bigger on the left coin and smaller on the right coin. The battle axe here below the king's hand is smaller here and bigger here. So there are these minute variations which can be observed today, and we can say that yes, these two are coins, Gupta coins of the same type. However, there were two different dies that were involved in making these two coins. Now, extending this concept by collecting all the coin images of this particular type, we can know how many dies were involved in the making of these many coins just by observing the obverse or the reverse of the coin. Uh, After that, if we were to fix the life of each die, that means um, how many coins can a die strike before it has to be discarded? If we were to make some observation based on experiments today, we can come up with some numbers. For example, we can say that for a gold coin, a die life would be about 500 gold coins. After 500 gold coins, the die has to be replaced. If we can come to that number today using experimentation, then if we were to find 100 dice based on this observation of all the coins of that particular type, so 500 um, coins per die into, let us say, 100 dice, that will be 50,000. So we can come to the number 50,000 as the number of coins of that type that the Guptas struck, the Gupta king struck. So with such extrapolation, it is possible for us to get insights into the number of coins minted in the past just by looking at the extent of the surviving coins today, observing the coins. This is what we call as a die study. So by counting or by estimating the number of coins, it will give us an insight into the economy of that period, how the coins supported the economy, how many coins could have been minted in that period. So such estimations are possible using die studies. Finally, the numismatic method that I'm putting in front of you is called as a hoard study. So what is a hoard? A hoard is nothing but a group of coins found together. Now, why are hoards found? Because in the past we didn't have the banking system, so anybody's savings would have been kept together, and sometimes that has passed over generations unnoticed until the modern period. Now, what is a hoard study? Hoard study is observing the contents of a coin hoard, noting down which coin, which ruler, and so on. Now, if you were to find a hoard, it actually gives us some, it has a potential to give us good historical information. Why? Because a hoard is naturally a collection or savings of coins over one maximum 1 or 2 generations. So, in other words, it means that coins which are found in a hoard are chronologically very close to each other. Generally, they are chronologically very close to each other. Let me give you an example. In the early 20th century, in Kabul, a hoard of coins were found, and that hoard is popularly called as the Chaman-e-Hazori hoard. Okay. So, what were the contents of this hoard? There were Persian coins datable to the 5th century BCE. There was a Greek tetradrachm coin datable to about 4th century BCE. This should be BCE. Along with that, there were many Gandharan punchmark coins. Okay, this is a Gandharan punchmark coin. What you see on the right, it is a Gandharan punchmark coin. So punchmark coins do not have any writing on them. They have only punches or symbols. Okay. Now, because of the fact that these Gandharan punchmark coins, which normally don't have any writing or any date, however, they were found with other coins which were datable, a date could be assumed for these Gandharan punchmark coins. So, the numismatists could tell that these Gandharan punchmark coins also must have belonged to the 5th, 4th century BCE period because they were found along with other datable coins of that time frame. So this is how a hoard study can help us to lend a date to coins which are otherwise difficult to date. So I think with this, I have sort of covered some of the important numismatic methods that are available to extract historical information from coins. So I conclude now, and I'm ready to take any questions.
It has been a very, very interesting lecture, and you have covered so many different aspects of numismatic studies. You have covered the aspect of how we differentiate between coins, how the different dies, the unique dies, what they tell us about coins, what hoards tell us about coins, all the different aspects of coins that we have so far not understood. So thank you very much, sir, for bringing those into the forefront of discussion today. And we have a lot of questions in the from very curious viewers, of course, and I'm one of them. So, with your permission, sir, could we take up a question and answer session?
Please go ahead.
Yes. So, Sir Nandan sir has, as he is always the museologist, he has asked a question from a museological point of view. Every coin has some important information on both obverse and reverse sides. In a showcase, if a coin is displayed in a vertical stand and if a mirror is kept on the rear side, how does this exhibition strategy sound to you? That is his question.
Yes, sir. It is always very much desirable to bring out the obverse and reverse of the coin, and mirror possibly helps. Only thing is, I would be thinking if it is the practicality of that, how easy or difficult it would be for to do this for each and every coin. Normally, what happens is a easier way that numismatists I have observed tend to deal with this issue is by putting the magnified image of the obverse and reverse, and then only displaying one side of the coin. Of course, it does not give us the entirety of the display, uh, but it is a easy alternative that I have seen. But if we were to use the mirror technique, which I think I have heard about in some of the displays, I've not practically seen it. I think that would be good, or rather better than the images.
Thank you very much, sir. Very unique, prudent solution indeed. I have a question. Before that, thank you, sir, for bringing out the similarities between the different coins of different rulers, the law of numismatic continuity. It was very interesting to note. And the question is not about that, it is about silence in coinage. So, what does it mean that certain rulers or deities or some events are not represented in coins? How do we take that? Because many times there are only coins that tell us about certain rulers. There are no other sources. So even if coins don't mention rulers, then what is the meaning of that?
Um, yeah, I mean, if coins don't mention rulers, it is generally the case when you look at the smaller denominations. The bigger the denomination, the bigger is the size and the more information that it can hold. So if we, but we do come across a lot of coins which are of the lesser denomination and are called as uninscribed coins, and they don't tend to contain any written matter as such. However, they are more challenging to decipher, and if anybody can interpret something from those coins as well typologically, because there are various other methods of interpretation, not just the written content on the coin. Typologically, if they can interpret, then I think they also are useful in the historical reconstruction of the coins. So uninscribed coins also play an important role in the historical reconstruction, not just the inscribed coins.
Thank you very much, sir. So there is a question from Sudeep here. Do people still accidentally find coins today? And if they do, what should they do with the coins?
Okay, that's an interesting question. People all the time they accidentally find coins, especially our country is so rich from a heritage perspective that that there are so many instances of finding coins accidentally. So now the Treasure Trove Act is of 18, I think it is 1886, if I'm not wrong. The Treasure Trove Act guides people on what are the steps to be followed when they find coins or other antique objects accidentally. So it clearly says that the objects have to be brought to the notice of the local district collectors to start with. The district collector will then put a notice for a period of 2 months or so, saying claimants, asking for any possible claimants to report to the office to stake their claim. And if depending upon the number of claimants, so there are two parties, the claimants and the finder. So depending upon how many claimants are there, the district collector will take a call on how it needs to be distributed. However, if it is of historical significance, if the coins are unique or unique objects conveying some important historical facts, then the district collector can take a call uh, and take over those coins and compensate with some amount to the finder and the claimants.
Thank you very much, sir, for explaining the laws regarding the archaeological or numismatic finds that one might find. I do have another question. This is about the continuity. Does continuity indicate political stability or administrative convenience, especially when we are talking about conquest situations?
Yeah. So actually, a numismatic continuity happens in a scenario where there is a political discontinuity. So the political discontinuity, as in another dynasty taking over and starting rule. So it is a milestone of political discontinuity. So it is an you can say it is an administrative stability or administrative continuation. So it is more for from a functional perspective that numismatic continuity exists.
Thank you very much, sir. There is a question from Raghav Rathod. these coins nowadays also, where we can see. So in which museum can we find these coins is his question.
Yeah. So in India, like there are two stages. In any museum, if you go, there'll be coins for display and coins in the repository. So these are not for display, but these are additional coins which are maintained at the museum. So the museum normally they take the decision of circulating the display coins so that over a period of time, the more number of their collections get displayed. So now the Bihar, the Patna Museum has a coin cabinet. The Goa Museum has their own coin room. The Chhatrapati Shivaji Vastu Sangrahalaya, they also have their own coin rooms. So these coins are where, sorry, these museums are where coins are very neatly, systematically displayed, and you can go and see. But if you want to see the coins which are not in display, then it requires special permission. Like you need to state your objective. Maybe you're a research scholar, you can take a letter from your guide and from your university, and you can present that, and you can request for those coins which are not on display also to be shown to you for photography and study.
Thank you very much, sir. And I ask a lot of questions, sir. So this is another one from me. What does the choice to overstrike rather than melt tell us about the speed of political change? Because if not, they could have melted the coins and then made new coins out of it. But why do they choose to overstrike instead of remelting or remaking coins?
Yeah. So overstrike is the quickest way to make the new political entity's presence felt in the kingdom. So, because if one were to melt and remint the coins, even of the same typology, but with the new devices, it is going to take a certain amount of time. I'll give you a very good example. India got independence in 1947, but till 1950, we used the Anna coins of the British period, because we had to set up our own mints. Our priorities were different at that time. So administration was a top priority than minting coins. So it was only by 1950 that we were ready to mint coins with the specific Indian emblems. And in 1949, we started minting our own currency notes. So it takes a certain amount of time, and it also involves a certain amount of cost to mint new coins. So it is more easier to do overstrike, and that is what has been done even in the past by a few political entities.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, it is interesting to, as you said, priorities are where the decisions lie in. So, if there is political instability, of course, they are going to first focus on stabilizing their political control and then mint new coins. Thank you very much, sir. There is another question here. So, Veda Lakshmi ma'am has asked, greetings, sir. It was wonderful listening to the methods of numismatic study. I'm curious to know if there are any digital efforts and initiatives in the field to have advanced study and understanding.
Yeah, it's a good question. So we are evolving technologically. India is evolving technologically, and there are some initiatives that I personally know of where we are trying to digitize coin repositories. So basically, I personally am involved in one such project with my colleague Sri Purnanand Sanket, and we are trying to digitize coins held by private collectors with the intent that these coin images are available to the researchers. So the researchers can make use of these coin repositories. And of course, taking it a step forward, coin identification, it can be done using AI. So this is one thing that we are looking at. So to how can a user or an academician, they can probably upload an image of a coin, and an AI software layer can actually identify the coin based on the data that it has been already fed with. So these are some of the things that definitely we can look at to utilize.
That is absolutely it is going to help a lot of researchers. So thank you very much, sir, for working in that regard. Purna Nanji has also joined us and he has written nicely explained. So thank you, sir, for joining us. And there are a couple more questions here. One is from Bodh Gaya, 8111. Can hoards be read as moments of crisis rather than indicators of wealth?
Oh yeah, definitely. Hoards can indicate moments of crisis. Definitely, I agree with that. They continue to be reflectors of wealth, no doubt about it. But then, if we can corroborate it with a political event, then they can also reflect crisis.
Thank you very much, sir. And another question from me. Can die study help us identify periods of economic boom or decline?
Oh yes, because they are reflecting, though it is by extrapolation, they are reflecting the quantity. So when we can compare quantities of coins issued in two different periods or between two different dynasties, so they can definitely indicate the periods of economic boom or decline. Yeah. Oh, Manali, you're on mute.
Sorry, sir, I lost the power supply here, so momentarily I was disconnected. Thank you, sir. And the very last question from me. So, if you had to choose, what is your favorite coin and why?
Oh, you put me in a fix. It's very, very
Yes,
difficult
sir.
question. Very, very difficult question. Okay, if I were to
Yes, sir.
try to answer your question, I personally I love this portrait coins of the Shatavahanas. They are silver coins of very small size, about 2 grams in weight. However, they actually tend to portray the ruler's bust, and not just the ruler's bust, but they also, for the same ruler, you see variations in the portrait indicating a young age and maybe a slightly older age, middle age, and so on, and a lot of different headgear and so on. So they are really very interesting. And on the reverse of the same coin series, they contain legend, both in northern Brahmi and southern Brahmi. So that also makes the that coin series particularly very interesting. But India has very beautiful coins. India has a variety of coins, and really a very fascinating set of coins.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It was indeed a very wonderful lecture. And the answer to that last question was also very interesting. Satavahana coins are really indeed very, very interesting. Vedalakshmi ma'am has asked, can we have the contact details of Gautam sir? So definitely, ma'am, we will share it with you. If you can write to us on the email of the history enthusiasts, we will get back to you with his contact details. And as we draw this session to a close, today's lecture has reminded us that coins are far more than objects of exchange. They are compact archives of history through methods like provenance, symbols, overstrike, metrology, die studies, and hoards. We see how even the smallest artifact can open up vast historical questions. And we saw that in the question and answer session also. On behalf of all of us, I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Gautam Jantakal for this insightful and engaging lecture. And before asking the honorary president of the history enthusiast, Mr. Nandan Shastriji, to give the concluding remarks and the vote of thanks, I would just like to read a couple of comments here. Dr. Chandramohan has written, "Thank you very much, sir, for a valuable session." And he has also thanked the organizers for a wonderful session, sir. Thank you very much. So we also have Vedalakshmi ma'am. She's saying thank you so much, sir, and thanks. It was a very great session. We have many such viewers who have expressed their gratitude, and I'm sure that many more viewers will be watching this video after the streaming is over. So on behalf of all of them, sir, once again I would like to tell you that it has been a wonderful lecture. Now I request Mr. Nandan Shastri ji to give the concluding remarks and to also propose the vote of thanks on behalf of all of us.
Dr. Gautam, very insightful, informative, and interesting e-lecture by you through these slides. Unlike textual records, which may be biased, destroyed, or manipulated, numismatic evidence is durable, datable, and widely circulated. Modern numismatic methods include metallurgical analysis, especially the non-destructive one known as EDXRF analysis. In the Indian context, Panchmark coins, Gupta gold dinars, and Mughal silver rupees have significantly refined our understanding of political transactions, uh, monetary policies, and cultural exchanges along the Silk Route and Indian Ocean trade. Numismatics thus transforms silent metal objects into eloquent witnesses of history. By using chemicals in ultrasonic tank, the corrosion is removed on coins by converting electricity into sound vibrations. Uh, Thank you very much, Dr. Gautam, for uh, your talk today. And the question answer session was also very interesting. Uh, we will look forward to hear you once again in our future. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, I would like to have a continued association with you, and I also thank Nandan Shastri ji for joining us today, and to all our audience members. Thank you very much for your active participation. We look forward to similar enthusiasm from you all in the future endeavors. We will come back soon with something new. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Manali.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.